Hi guys,
Hi, everybody.
Nazi.
Hi.
I miss you.
I miss you too. It's been a
It's
while.
not that we haven't seen each other in all of this time, but I'm so excited that we are back doing cocktails with Marti and Nazs.
Yes, we took a little break, but we're back.
We're back. Okay, so today we are drinking. It's summertime.
So good.
This is good. This is a strawberry and gin tonic. I did mine with a little bit of mint. I think I see, is that cucumber in yours?
I did cucumber. I did have mint. So I usually make Hendrix with cucumber because it's a little cucumber infused Hendrix in general. So I like to add a little more cucumber so it makes it super like fresh. But I love, the mint as well. However, I didn't have any. So I did cucumber and strawberries.
I love it. It's so refreshing. I mean, you used to be a big gin drinker. That used to be
my drink. My drink of choice was gin. Yeah, Gin Tonic was my to-go-to. I still love it. It's a really refreshing summer drink. Yeah. So I still really like it. But when I discovered Casamigos tequila,
our favorite,
I converted to tequila.
We have Kelly to thank for that.
I know. I have you to thank for that.
Shout out to Kelly and Casamigos. But no, I'm not a gin drinker, but this is so refreshing. I am sweltering in Florida heat. It's 100 degrees today.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
Well, LA is not that much better. It's in the 80s. I stepped out for a minute and it was just so hot. I came right back in.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so we're back at it. I mean, I feel like, you and I, we've talked about when we would have the time to sit down and do cocktails with Marti and Nazs. We've both been so busy. I was getting ready for the Tribeca Film Festival. You've been slammed with press for your book, a little bit of Oscars moments. Can you tell me about that, please? Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, it was, so it's funny because I've been in this industry for so long and I've been doing red carpet and, all different kind of events, that, I've been doing the Golden Globes and the Emmys and all that. I never really had a client for the Oscars. Like I never had that opportunity. And this year I had two. So my client was nominated and, he started with his nominations for many different awards and ended with the Oscars, and it was a great moment because he won, and I got to see him going on stage, and his wife was by his side, and I dressed both of them, and it was a great moment to see that your client winning the Oscar, the biggest of the the award shows. It was great. It was a really fun experience.
I was so excited for you. I mean, obviously, we love the Oscars.
But I know it was special
photos of us at Elton John's party, right? And all of our Oscars things. But you guys know I'm a Disney fan. So I was losing my mind because it was the director of Encanto.
Yes, it was. And it was such a cute, good-hearted message with this animation. I was so happy that you feel a tiny part of something, and it was just really great to even like hear the message behind the animation, how it was the first Disney character that had glasses, and some girl already wrote to the director, asked to make, a character based on a girl that wears glasses, and it was already in the works. So you hear all these backstories, and it makes it a lot more special. So so that was my Oscar moment.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. But I know you've been busy with Tribeca, and
I know. I mean, you too. I mean, I really needed all the help that I could get. This is, my first year producing all of the events for the festival. So it was massive, but it was so much fun. I feel like it just flew by, all this work, all this time, 6 months of planning to then just be over like that. But it was amazing. I wish next year you're going to have to actually come out
Yeah, I
There's
know.
no movie this summer, but
Yeah, I was bummed that I couldn't come out, but with the press for the book and getting clients ready for summer, they all want to like be summer ready for their travels and all the stuff you have to do for them. It was a little busy for me as well, so the timing wasn't. So is Tribeca going back to the actual date next year, or is it like, how does that work? Because I know this year was a little delayed.
Right. So for those of you that don't know, the Tribeca Film Festival typically is in April. Yeah. But with the pandemic, it moved to the month of June to be able to be in outdoor spaces, just to be safer for everybody. So I don't know. I know we hear that it's post-pandemic, but I'm still hearing people are getting COVID. So I'm like, is it post-pandemic? I don't know. So who knows what they're going to decide, if we're going to go back to completely normal next year, or if they'll kind of keep it in June so that we can be, outdoors. But
which do you prefer? I know you've done both.
Well, I prefer in April so that we can go to Cannes. So that's my own selfish desires, is for you and me to be back at Cannes. With it being in June, that makes it a tight turn because May is such a busy time and that's when Cannes is. So I would rather it be in April, selfishly.
Okay.
But I think it's a good reason of why we're talking about this. I mentioned post-pandemic, and here we are. The last time that we were able to sit down and chat with everyone was around the holidays, and so I can't believe it's July, and we're halfway through 2022, and so much has happened in this country that you and I both were like, we just need to get it out, vent, share. We just had the Highland Park shooting 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Where do we start?
It's funny because I feel like people are so numb to this that not a lot of people talk about it anymore, because it used to be so shocking to have mass shootings. And now it's just another day in America. And it's so sad that people are just becoming used to it. It's just a part of American life now. And absolutely nothing is being done. And I know they just passed some laws and, some, gun control laws. Not enough. It is not enough.
It's not enough. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And when I think about how we can get to some type of common ground as a country, why there's such pushback against banning these assault rifles. I was saying to someone just the other day that I'm not against guns. For all of our conservative followers, that love to send us messages, we're not against it. I mean, we went on vacation in England and went shooting for sport. This isn't something that
there.
When we were at the farmhouse with Jessica, you didn't actually get to because of your back, but we'll have to show you guys the clips.
Wow. That was really fun.
I like you. You do as you're told.
Well, we'll throw that in there for Naz's memory of us at the farmhouse. But I'm not just like, lock all the guns away, but it just does not make any sense to me why, one, assault rifles are something that are being sold. Yeah. And then two, why is it so easy? It was more difficult for me to adopt Harper.
I know. It is a lot harder to actually adopt a child that needs a home.
Than to walk in and get a gun. That's what doesn't make sense.
Not even that. It's harder to get, alcohol, to get a cigarette for if you're not 21. It's so much harder to do, to go get a beer if you're not 21.
Claritin D.
Easier to get a gun. Literally. I heard one of the politicians was saying that this country has an obsession with guns. There is some sort of obsession that some Americans have with guns. And I totally agree with that. what I like about you and I is that, we are obviously very close friends, but we have different views on different things. Our opinions are different, but we have that mutual respect that we know like what to find a common ground.
Totally.
So
Respect
exactly.
each other.
A lot of people are talking about like protection. Oh, I need a gun for protection. I completely disagree because what are the people doing in other countries who can't buy guns? Are they all dying like every day? Are they, there was an argument that one of the conservatives was having with a British reporter saying, well, in your country, people get stabbed all the time. But think about the logic in that. True, in England, there's a lot of stabbing because they can't get a gun that easy. But how many people can you stab before somebody tackles you and stops you versus a machine gun? There is no reason for a 17-year-old to have a machine gun. That belongs to war zone. So yeah, I understand where you're coming from. You're not against guns. And I'm like, I never was against it or for it. I just literally thought, it's something that a person that's responsible who wants to own a handgun, maybe, you live in some parts of major cities that you do need that to protect your family. And I get it. I understand it. But making it so easy for a 16, 17-year-old who's mad at the world or at a girl or whatever it is to go get a machine. This guy purchased 5 guns within a year.
This is the Highland Park shooter?
Yes. He obtained 5 different kind of guns, assault rifle, whatever he had within 1 year, and they kept selling it to him.
Correct. There has to be more control. And I just don't understand with everything else that we're controlling in this country, like our vaginas.
That is not, you're talking about pro-life?
Right.
So children died in elementary school. You're saying you're pro-life, but you are not doing anything about guns that a kid can go and get
these lives. And that's what
children's lives. How is that okay? But then you're pro-life when somebody doesn't want to carry pregnant. I just don't get it. To me, it makes it a little more hard to understand than anybody else, maybe just because where I'm coming from.
Yeah.
Because I'm coming from a country that everything is controlled. And a lot of Iranians fled the country, left, escaped because they wanted a little more freedom. Women have no rights back home. Anybody who's read my book knows we don't have any rights back home. So when we leave our hometown, our country, and come to somewhere that's called land of free, these things happen, it is very scary. And actually it's very traumatic. It brings back a lot of memories. It's triggering for us to see these rights little by little being taken away. Then it's like, oh my gosh, it's like I'm back home again.
It's still something that's just still so hard to believe, kind of shifting to, Roe v. versus Wade, that this is something that's actually happening, that right now today it is illegal to get an abortion in some of these states. Or you hear, I think it's gone viral about this 10-year-old girl that was raped, that had to travel state lines in order to get an abortion. And there's people making these jokes about Handmaid's Tale, which we both have read and watched, but I still just can't believe that this is our country, that this is what's actually happening today. And I feel helpless as to what we can do about it. Everyone talks about go vote and you have to vote and make sure November 8th, but there's so much that's happening to take away voters' rights. You're hearing about these states and these counties where people's registration has been revoked or removed and they have to go register again. There's all of these things that are standing in the way. And it's just makes me feel powerless. As to what's next? What's coming next?
I'm losing my faith in politicians in general. It's just like, it's to the point that Democrats, Republicans, it's just like, when it comes to common sense, there shouldn't be a party.
Mhm.
It has nothing to do with Democrats or Republican. However, sometimes when I, think about it and I see where all these very conservative, opinions and ideologies coming from, it's where the conservatives cannot separate religion and politics.
Mhm.
What they've always been preaching, the separation of church and government. It's not happening. They're trying to force what they believe in their religion to a nation that's made up of a lot of different religions, a lot of different backgrounds and ethnicities and races, that, not everybody has to go by one religion's rules. You have to respect. Isn't that in the Constitution? Doesn't your Constitution say, every religion, every school of thought is welcome in this land?
Creed, exactly. And it doesn't feel like that anymore. And, someone had made, a comment that if, you thought that this 4th of July was the first, year of not having independence, you have been blind. And it's true. We are minorities. We have been oppressed. This whole country's history is built on oppression, so this isn't new, but it's just, I guess, become so much more overt, to see what the Supreme Court is vocalizing and voting on, to see what, Justice Thomas, is for him to say that next up he wants to take away, gay rights and same-sex marriages, like to actually just come out and say it, the boldness that they have now, is what is just so terrifying and shocking. And I think that you and I just wanted to share with everyone that, we see what's going on. We are fighting, we are protesting, we are writing, to our legislators, and are going to try to share on both of our pages information and, ways to support, and that you can kind of count on us to be a part of this fight.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you mentioned you don't know what, sometimes you're just frustrated and you're like, well, what can I do? What should I do? And, yes, voting and starting at your local politicians, starting from bottom up, that's very important, because everybody's like, my vote doesn't count. It counts, because if everybody said that, nobody's gonna vote. So, starting at your kind of like a local community and then going up, that's something. I signed up to go protest this Saturday. So, our friend Jen, she's very active and she's very passionate about this. So she always sends me the dates and places of protesting. And it happened that this one Saturday, lines up with my schedule. So I'm going to go.
Yeah.
And, all these little steps. And just, here's the thing, like, I'm not fighting for myself. First of all, I never wanted to have children. I've never been pregnant. I've never been in the position that I had to get an abortion. I was lucky that I never actually had to go seek abortion. I'm not planning on getting pregnant. Anybody that knows me knows I'm not that person. But I'm fighting for women, because it bothers me that a lot of women just stay silent. They're like, I've had my kids, or I never wanted to get abortion, or I've never would get an abortion because it's against my beliefs. It doesn't matter. This specific problem doesn't affect me directly. It doesn't affect my sisters directly, and doesn't affect a lot of my friends, because they either had their kids or they're at the age that they're not gonna have kids. So it doesn't directly affect me personally. But I have nieces.
Yeah.
And besides my nieces, there are, women out there that need our support. So if it doesn't affect me directly, It's just like I left my country 25 years ago and I just close my eyes and say, whatever is happening, there's no more problem anymore. No, those are my people. I'm still going to speak out. I'm still
Humanity. Exactly.
Yeah. So for a lot of women who stay silent on these, subjects, and they're like, yeah, whatever, it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. I'm going to stay silent. That bothers me a lot. Yeah. That you're just very, there's a saying they say, you probably know this better, staying silent.
It's the same as exactly. It's equal to condoning it. You're accepting it. You're saying that it's okay. This is a time where we have to speak. We have to be vocal. This goes for the men. All of the men that have benefited from getting someone pregnant and then them going and taking a plan B or getting an abortion, these men need to speak up and talk about how this has saved their lives and, saved their situations. So this affects men and women, and we have to speak up. And I know I'm looking at any inaction and I am assessing that relationship. When I'm seeing what you're posting on Instagram or, what you're saying, and if you have not acknowledged that children were murdered in their classroom, if you've not acknowledged that a 10-year-old had to cross state lines to get an abortion after she was raped, if you're just going through and posting, random things and not acknowledging like what it is that's happening, I can't even talk to you. It's like, how can you not say something?
How can you not? How can you be a woman and stay silent and be okay with it?
And be okay with it.
Again, I've had some critics and, who came out and said things because they spoke against, this new anti-abortion law, and they were women. And these are people I've known for many, many, many years. But obviously when you're in, your early 20s and, you're concerned with different things. Mm-hmm. Right now, the early 20s kids are a little more, woke. They're a little
very more, much. These Gen Zs are.
They're a little more involved. But not to age myself, but back then when I was in my early 20s and I was very new to this country, these are the people that I hung out with, and I had no idea what their mindset was. Like, we didn't talk about politics much, especially because, the country wasn't in turmoil so much. Mm-hmm. Things like this wasn't happening so rapidly, so quick. These mass shootings, wasn't every day.
Yeah.
Wasn't, anti-abortion, taking women's rights, voting rights. These things weren't happening as often. So it wasn't a conversation. Now that we are all adults and all these issues are just like coming at us every day, I see when I speak out about things, it offends some people, and they're women, and I'm
really like, where people actually stand on these issues, because it wasn't really talked about before, right? So it's eye-opening on both sides, of it. So I don't know. Again, we could go on and on.
This issue, we can talk about it forever.
But I'm just glad that we are back chatting.
Exactly. Yes.
So much more. There's so much more that we want to share with our updates on life. We're just getting into summer. I know that you're going to head over to Europe soon to see your best friend Armando. I'm looking forward to Martha's Vineyard. So we'll be filming from a few different locations.
Yeah. I know you just finished Tribeca, and it was like a huge production, just like seeing you running around New York and doing so much every day for 10, 15 days.
Literally 2 weeks straight.
Wow. So I know you need to like rest a little and relax.
I'm counting down to the vineyard,
but what is your next, fun plan for summer? What are you going to do?
So looking forward to laying down and being horizontal at a body of water, horizontal in August. And then, you and I both are going to be very busy because Emmys are right around the corner. So And these are in September, so we don't have a ton of downtime, but I'm glad that we both are going to take some time in August to like relax. And hopefully you'll be in the British countryside.
Yeah.
I watch Britain, but that's what I
Yeah, so I miss my bestie. Some people know that Armando and I have been friends for a very, very long time, but he lives in London and I haven't seen him in a very long time. So I'm looking forward to that trip to see him and spend some time. I'm a little scared, not, to be honest with you, because of this like traveling nightmare right now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I'm a little nervous. I still haven't gotten a ticket. I keep looking at tickets and I'm like, do I really want to, risk this?
I told you just 2 weeks ago, every flight, including mine, 7 people I knew that were trying to leave New York, all of our flights were canceled.
Yeah.
Every single one. So it is a crazy time to be traveling right now. Prices are through the roof. So I don't know. I feel you if you decide to push that to the fall because it's insane.
I know. The problem is like my job, it starts in September, like the busy time starts in September and it goes all the way to the holiday time. Then I have a little bit of a break and then it again starts till, and then it slows down again in like end of May.
Yeah.
Summer is usually kind of like slower for me because everybody's traveling and not a lot of things are happening. So it's the best time for me to travel.
Yeah.
Because every time between September and May, I plan on traveling, I end up getting like some big projects. Yeah, but it seems like everybody's in Europe, everybody's traveling. So I don't know. Well, I might risk it and just try to go. We'll see what happens. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Oh, I love it. Well, guys, we will be back soon with another cocktail recipe and more to dish about. Nazs, love you.
Love you. Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, guys.